Hello everyone, this is Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo back with another episode of Kerbal Space Program. Well, this launch is going to be nothing more than routine. You see, what's going on is that Jebediah had the wind taken out of his sail. He thought he was the prize of the Kerbal Space Program, but he kind of got stranded the first time he tried to make this trip. So, trying to prove to himself and everybody else out there, he set out to just make sure that people know he's still the top ace, the top astronaut in the Kerbal Space Program. So what he's doing here is he's requisitioned a ship, which was another backup one that was just lying around, and he's shooting off to the moon to make a quick landing and come right back again. So what we have going on right here is there might not have been enough thrust to get this thing going at a really fast rate. If you look at the accelerometer, it's just about 1G and nothing more. So it took a lot of fuel to get this thing up into the orbital plane, I guess we'll call it. But Jeb is determined he's going to make it if it kills him. Well, Jeb just launched off the rear end, or I should say jettisoned the rear end of that ship, the first stage, which will crash harmlessly onto that poor little continent off to the east. He's got the second stage over here all ready to go off and get him into orbit. Already he's making a couple of mistakes you can see. The first being he shouldn't have stolen the ship in the first place. But his idea is he'll be back long before anyone notices he's gone, and he'll deliver valuable science back to the Kerbal Space Program so they can build bigger and faster and stronger and better rockets. I think that's what his intentions are. I'm not sure. Anyway, sitting over here trying to get a nice little intercept, an encounter with the moon. Jeb's doing his best, gets it, nails it, and then we'll just move ourselves out there. See, we have a little bit of Mech Jeb going on this screen right now. Most of it just so we can get we can get very important things like Delta V, how fast we're going in orbit, how fast we're going in relationship to our target. But the big one for this is, so we have a altitude above the ground. I guess they call it, we'll just call it AGL. So there's a radar altimeter in this. So launching off, and all of a sudden we're using that third stage, which of course is the landing stage. Are the 4 extra tanks enough to get Jebediah down to the surface of the moon and then launch back successfully? We'll find out. Oh, Jeb doesn't really have that great... Oh, there he goes. He pushes out his periapsis to about 10K and creates his circularization maneuver, and will then get on with it. So Jeb is hoping that he makes this, and being that this is post-commentary, I know and I won't tell you. So he nails his circularization, which he's going to go through here. And now he's starting to think, looks like I'm going to have more than enough fuel to land. This time he's not up at 60 or 50K above the moon's surface. He's only at about 10K, I believe, 19K, 10K. So it's going to be a small, well, I should say a short fall to the surface. This is one of those things that I really love. When you look at the actual ship flying over, it's just so gorgeous. Here we're seeing a sunrise over the moon. And our obnoxiously large lander for this tiny little capsule is going off. Jeb's got some of the best opportunities to see some really cool views there, but he decides to keep pointed retrograde, so he never really got to see that sunrise over the moon. Here he is doing his deorbit burn. And he's going to try to put it in this crater, which shouldn't be too hard. And we see our valuable fuel supply going down little by little. But I trust that Jeb knows what he's doing here, don't you all? Hopefully this time he doesn't make any mistakes. Remember, Jeb is kind of goofy in the way that he handles things. He's confident, he's a little bit smarter than the average Kerbal, but he's also goofy. He's always laughing and smiling and giddy, even when things are about ready to go seriously bad. But he's making his maneuver to land on the moon. And as we go switch into the internal view and take a look, he's situated perfectly to land right in the center of this big crater, hoping that it holds some secrets that we have not discovered yet. The big reason for this one, I believe, is that when he was saved, and I think it was Bob that saved him, or was that Bill? When Bill saved him, because Bob went to Minmus. Bill came in a little bit too hot, and when he landed, the service module stage below the capsule all fell apart, so they lost the science module. So we really had some unused science. We had to go back and get some anyway eventually. Jeb's falling to the surface little by little, still giddy. Look at him go. He's very happy. I guess at this point he's starting to realize that he's gonna make it. As the surface comes up at us, we're reducing our speed, our velocity, down to about 50, 30, 20 meters a second. I think we're actually in the hundreds still, but we'll burn that off real quick. We've got more than enough power to do that. Here we go, we're making our burn. Killing that velocity as quick as we can. I should say Jeb is. And now he's going to try to get his lateral velocity, which he's trying to get it out of this crater over here. That's the most I can tell over here. He was about ready to go into a pretty steep incline. He's just moving it ever so slightly off to the right over there. Here we go, getting closer. And if you're looking at that top left one of the MechJeb ones, that's the one that we should be looking at. That's the one that's going to have our distance above, about 1,600 meters above the surface. Moving it over just a little bit, trying to stabilize our descent. Jeb takes control. And he's going to gently lower it onto the surface of the moon right now, with just over half a tank of fuel left, which is more than enough to get us back to Kerbin. And I'm just excited to see this landing. It's so tough when you're doing it. Up, and there we go. Perfect landing on an incline. Now Jeb's gonna get out and he's gonna go and let's see what he does. Oh, first he's gonna grab that science that was lost on that last mission. And he's grabbing it from the two mystery goo containers, and Jeb's still wondering what just is that goo, that green bouncy stuff. And we brought a temperature sensor with us this time. Go. That gives us some valuable science. And we've got another science up, another one of those temperature sensors. And of course we have to send back some valuable info now. And here we go with some more. So he's doing all the duties that he would normally do when he makes a landing, and now he's gonna jump out He's gonna fly off and try to find out if there are any mysteries hiding deep under the surface here in this crater. The mystery that I'd have is, where does the thing that makes a crater so big wind up? Shouldn't there be like a rock in the center of it? And here he goes, gonna go off to the center of the crater real quick. Till he realizes it's a lot farther than it looks. He's just gonna come down this hill. And what is a lunar landing, or mooner in this case, without a facepalm by a Kerbal? Come on, Jeb, get up. Now get off and start taking this seriously. Come on, son. It's time to get your work done. So Jeb's looking around, trying to get a good picture. And what he finds is, he doesn't know where he is. He's wondering, where did I park that ship of mine? He jumps up into the sky, or deep space at this point, goes down to the center, and gets a little lazy and says, you know what, I'm not going to make it all there. Let me just set myself down real nice here. Come on, Jeb, don't make me be stupid and lying. And he's going to grab the science right from here. And here we go. And of course nothing's working because we turned off the UI. Jeb grabs the two things he can, an EVA report and surface sample, and he's going to plant the flag. Let's plant this flag, Jeb. I think he calls this one Jeb's Big Hole or something like that. There we go. Let's see what he called it this time. Jeb's Deep. Oh. Okay, so this is like a little boy in the backyard digging a big hole. And he's saying he finally made it here with enough fuel to get home. Alright. Enough of that stuff. It's time to get home before anyone realizes you took the car out. Mom and Dad will be home soon. Remember, this is Jeb off on a joyride. Maybe that's what we'll call this one. Jeb's Joyride. Which reminds me of the Risky Business. Jeb has his photo op. He gets his picture taken. And he's off. And Jeb is flying back to the ship because he knows it's time to get home. Before anyone notices the rocket missing, which, how can't they? I mean, he's only going to be bringing back a little capsule. Most of the rocket is going to be gone. So Jeb gets back to the ship, and of course, there's going to be some maneuvering because Jeb knows how to use a rocket pack, but he just likes to make people that are watching go a little bit crazy and say, no, not that way. Come on, inside. So Jeb is flying around his ship, practically putting himself into a suborbital trajectory. Oh, missed it again. This is one of my least favorite parts, is trying to get them to go up here. With these stupid science modules on these new ships, it's very hard to make a ladder work. I don't think they thought this through. The science module should have been smaller. Essentially for what they do. And he is in. Oh, no he's not. And come on, Jeb, you're holding up everyone that wants to watch another video. He gets in, and there we go. Next thing is take off. Jeb will be launching into space. And as we up this thing to 4x speed, we're going to see exactly what he does. So Jeb launches the ship. gets good enough height, starts pushing out his apoapsis. Creates a circularization maneuver. Hits time warp to get there. Oh, time warp in real life. Wasn't that a movie? Didn't that like end really badly? It might have. Oh yeah, that movie Click. Oh, it ended good, but it went bad first. Don't time warp. It could be bad. We're circular. And now we gotta fly around the dark side of the moon at some point to try to set this baby back onto Kerbin. So we're gonna get our maneuver. Make sure that we have a periapsis that's deep in the atmosphere but not in the surface, so we don't get too steep of a re-entry. I think we get that perfectly at some point right there. And now all we have to do is burn our way there. And of course then all we have to do is make it home. There we go, we're making our burn. Waiting for it to intersect. It intersects and bang, we're there. That was such a good maneuver. Look at that. So of course we get our in-space science all sent back. Oh, we launched the... I guess we gave up all that extra fuel. Unfortunately for us, that's also where the... Yeah, that's also where our electrical units were. This is not boding well. We're gonna have to spin ourselves around, and I guess Jeb knows what he's doing. He's saying, I don't need no electricity, I'll be back soon. And he uses engine power. Instead of the pitch on the unit, he's using engine power to put himself into a spin. I told you Jeb isn't always the perfect specimen to talk about. And here it goes. We now have re-entry. And parachutes. They must be made out of some kind of asbestos material. Jeb is really pushing it. He's trying to get home before anyone notices he's missing. And he is coming down pretty quick in the dark. I guess this is a good way not to be noticed. And he is going to hopefully land in the water. And here we go. Those parachutes are really good because they definitely withstood some pretty impressive heat there. Alright, so we had 338 science on that mission, plus whatever we sent back. And with all that science, we'll be able to pick up some new scientific advancements to make our next mission a success. Well, that's all from Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo. Thank you for checking in with Kerbal Space Program AA, and have a good week!